Hello students, good morning. In previous lecture, we discussed about the types of friction and we learn about the static friction. As we categorize the friction, that is static friction, sliding friction and the rolling friction. Static friction that which acts in the rest position of an object. Okay. Now we will discuss the sliding friction. What is sliding friction? When one object slides over the another object, then the opposing force between the two contact surfaces is known as sliding friction. Sliding friction is lesser than the static friction because when once the object comes in motion, then it has less time for the interlocking, which the irregularities present between the two contact surfaces. Now, what is sliding friction? When any object slides, means जब कोई ऑब्जेक्ट क्या करता है, another ऑब्जेक्ट के सरफेस पे स्लाइड करता है, जो बिटवीन कॉन्टेक्ट सरफेस होते हैं, तो जो फोर्स, जो अपोजिंग फोर्स which resists the motion of the object, that is called the sliding friction. Means it arises during the motion of an object. Okay. As I tell you that the sliding friction has a lesser value than the static friction. The reason is that when the body once comes in motion, then, as we know that the friction is due to the interlocking between the irregularities present in the contact surfaces. इससे हमें पता है कि फ्रिक्शन का मेन रीजन क्या है, जो कॉन्टेक्ट सरफेस होते हैं उनके बीच जो इरेगुलरिटीज होती है in the form of grooves and ridges, where they interlock and appears and applies a braking effect. Okay, so when the object comes in motion, then the time for the interlocking is very small, and hence the sliding friction is lesser than the static friction. Now we write the definition of the sliding friction. Sliding friction. Okay. The force of friction. The force of friction. The force of the friction which. The force of the friction which opposes the relative motion, which opposes the relative motion, which opposes the relative motion. When one body is actually moving. When one body actually moving over the surface of another, over the surface of another body, is called sliding friction. Is called sliding friction. Is called sliding friction. Okay. Now, we see some important properties. It is independent. it is independent of area of contact. It is independent of area of contact, and speed of object, Okay. Now, the second is it is lesser than. It is lesser than the static friction. It is lesser than the static friction. Okay. As we told that when one object comes into motion and slides over any surface or over any another object, then between the contact surfaces a force arises which resists the relative motion of the object. Means the sliding friction will arise when the object is actually in motion. Okay. As it is mentioned that the force of friction which opposes the relative motion when one body is actually moving over the surface of another body. जब कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट क्या कर रहा होता है, अनदर ऑब्जेक्ट पे मूव कर रहा होता है, जो फ्रिक्शन उनके कॉन्टेक्ट सरफेस के बिटवीन अराइज होता है, उस फ्रिक्शन को क्या कहते हैं? स्लाइडिंग फ्रिक्शन कहते हैं. ओके. The your point is that it is independent of area of contact and speed of object. ये फ्रिक्शन क्या होता है कि एरिया ऑफ कांटेक्ट एंड स्पीड से इंडिपेंडेंट होता है, एंड इट कैन बी मेजर्ड इन टर्म्स ऑफ फोर्स व्हिच इज नेसेसरी टू अप्लाइड ऑन द ऑब्जेक्ट फॉर दैट द ऑब्जेक्ट मूविंग विथ कांस्टेंट स्पीड. Once again, it is the measure of the force which is necessary to provide the object for their constant speed. Okay. Now, it is lesser than the static friction. You will feel in your daily life when any object is lying on any surface and you want to drag it or pull it. In starting, you have to apply more force in comparison to maintain its motion. When it comes once in motion, then you have to apply the less force in comparison which have been applied to initiate its motion. आपने प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में देखा होगा कि कोई इस तरह से ऑब्जेक्ट पड़ा हुआ रेस्ट में हो, तो उसको मोशन में लाने के लिए जितना फोर्स में अप्लाई करना होता है उससे लेस फोर्स में इसकी मोशन को मेंटेन कर लेते हैं. As we know that the friction which comes into play in the rest position of object, that is static friction, and the friction which comes into play when the object is in motion, that is kinetic friction, and when the object is sliding, then it is termed as sliding friction. So this examples shows that sliding friction is less than the static friction. Okay. Now we will discuss the next one, rolling friction. Rolling friction. Rolling when a body rolls on the surface of another the force of friction between the two surfaces means contact surfaces. Between the two surfaces means between the contact surfaces is known as rolling friction. Okay. Now, in fact, when you are required sliding friction can be easily replaced by rolling friction. Applying rolling friction. This can be done by using wheels, roller bearings, bar bearings, splitter. Okay. Now we see that the rolling friction is also the kinetic friction. When any object rolls over the surface of another object, then the friction which comes into play, that is called rolling friction. First of all, we will differentiate between the rolling and the sliding. What is rolling and what is sliding? As there is an object and you pulls like this, then it is sliding. Means the contact surface area is maintained to it. This is sliding. As you pull any log of wood, if you pull a log of wood this way, then this is sliding. But what is rolling? And we take a cylindrical object like this, and we apply in this way. This is rolling. Means the contact surface area is changing and the contact surface area is small. But in sliding, the total surface area is maintained to itself in the contact of the another. But in rolling, that is like this, the contact surface area is changing. Okay? So when one object rolls are wheels. Wheels. When you take a wheel and you pull like this, then this is sliding. As you feel sometimes when you apply brakes on slippery roads, then your vehicles slides. Okay? But when you are running, your wheels is rolling. That is clear? What is sliding and what is rolling? Okay? As we mentioned, when a body rolls on the surface of another, the force of friction between the two surfaces is known as rolling friction. Rolling friction क्या होता है कि जब one object roll कर रहा हो another object पे, तो between contact surfaces जो फ्रिक्शन एराइज होगा उस फ्रिक्शन को क्या कहेंगे? रोलिंग फ्रिक्शन कहेंगे. बाय एक्सपेरिमेंट इट इज ऑब्जर्व दैट रोलिंग फ्रिक्शन इज लेसर देन द स्टैटिक एंड द स्लाइडिंग फ्रिक्शन. ओके? रोलिंग फ्रिक्शन इज लेस देन sliding friction is less than static friction. Okay. The sliding friction can be converted into the rolling friction by some way, by applying wheels, roller bearings, bar bearings, etc. As you have seen, your suitcase has small wheels. If it does not wheels, when you drag that, you will apply more and more force. But when a wheel is applied, then you can drag it very easily, pull it very easily. In this way, it clears that the rolling friction is lesser than the sliding friction. Means among the three, static, sliding and rolling friction is the smallest in all the three frictional values. ओके? कि अगर हम स्लाइडिंग फ्रिक्शन की बात करें, रोलिंग फ्रिक्शन की बात करें और स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन की बात करें, हम सेम ऑब्जेक्ट को जो रेस्ट में हो उसको मोशन में लाने के लिए जितना हम फोर्स अप्लाई करेंगे, उस फोर्स की वैल्यू क्या होगी? हायर होगी इन कंपैरिजन टू 1 times when object comes in motion and slides over the surface, and if it not slides but rolls over the surface, the value will be more lesser in comparison the two cases, in rest and in sliding. Okay? Now, in next video, we will discuss the fluid friction. Okay? Thank you.